are watching True Way Television.
Good evening. Welcome to yet another show with me, Nyeleti, YaMasase and We continue this journey of healing together. We are still speaking everything healing, everything new wine, everything it's possible, and we are continuing with the journey. We know the theme for this year is events in the journey, so we are still learning more about these things, and we're just coming again tonight to just hear what God is saying, tapping into those sensitive places in our lives, facing up to those things we don't want to face. I think basically over and above, when everything is said and done, I just want to trigger you. I know this is a word that people don't like, but I am here to trigger you. But my triggering you, it comes in an intention to heal. There are some triggers that we need to get to in order to get to a point where we heal. So tonight, I'm coming to do that. Tonight, we are under the topic, Not With My Generation, something that you've heard me speak about so many times in so many platforms where you've ever had to encounter me. And it's something that I had been given by God to be so stubborn about and say, not with my women, not with my kids, not with my family. And that is how one gets to become a barrier breaker. So as we continue figuring out where are you pushing the barriers and how stubborn they may be, you need to just understand that you need to become this person who says, not with my generation. So where are we tonight? As I've said, we're going to be tapping in the next couple of weeks into the giants in the Bible to see what they had to push in their lives. And tonight, I'm coming with a man that has been spoken of, but because he was spoken of during the shine of someone else, if I may put it like that, and they mention it's there, but not much is said. I just feel like there are giants in the Bible that have done a lot, but because they did a lot, but in a short space of time, and it was not spoken of too often, like when we speak about the story of Esther tonight where I am, we hear Esther being mentioned everywhere. When think about it, we hear her being spoken of, the queen who was bold enough to face up to the king, as she was a queen who was chosen, the beautiful one. Like, there are so many things which are being said. But there is a man that was next to Esther, Mordecai. I don't want to speak about Esther tonight. I don't want to use Esther as a letter for you to read. You've heard so many times about her. But when we speak about people who say, not with my generation, there are two people, in fact, tonight that I will quickly touch on as we trigger each other, right? As we push each other. Because I feel like when I say not with my generation, it's more like I'm pushing you to now start taking notice and say what is happening with my family, what's happening with the people around me. When we speak generation, we don't speak just one surname, guys. We may speak one surname, but we're speaking a very large number of people. We're speaking one after another. It's not just 5 people that we're speaking of. So when we speak about Mordecai, we know the beautiful story that Esther did. So, in fact, let me do this. For you to understand why I'm saying Mordecai did not get enough shine, which is all good. The shine was not his to get. But I want to tonight get into a life of somebody who may be a Mordecai in their lives. Because we come all the time, we want to speak to the Esther, we want to speak to the Gideon, we want to speak to the Jacob, but no one really wants to speak, about the likes of Mordecai. No one wants to speak about the likes of Benjamin. No one, like the likes of Jonathan, I'm sorry. We will speak about David, and we know that where David was at some point, there was a Jonathan who played a major role, but there's not too much mention of that. And not everybody's going to be a Gideon. Not everybody's going to be a David. Some people will have to be literally a Jonathan. Somebody may have to be a Mordecai. Somebody will have to take a place of Moses' mother. You see how even how worse it gets. You just become a mother of who and not even a mention of your name. I said one evening when I was doing a session, and I said, when I say not with my generation, Moses' mother, it's one woman that comes to my mind who said that, hell no, I don't want to know. I don't want to know what's happening to the sons around this village. I don't want to know about the decree the king has made, but I want to know about the intention that I have for my son. I will keep him safe. And she hid him because she had an intention of saying, not with this one. Sometimes for you to say not with my generation, you're going to have to say no with one, because this person is coming for generations. For Moses was for an entire nation of Israel. When he was born, all the time I tell you that when Moses was born, the intention was one. He was the redeemer, the rescuer. He was born for a purpose of for going back to Egypt and get them out. He may have lived in Egypt in preparation. He may have ran out, but the intention was that at some point, child, you're going to have to go back and do what I called you to do. Now there had to be a mother who begins this. I hope somebody will tap into that place in their lives where they keep on saying everybody gets mentioned in the family. I don't get the mention, but I was the one who pays for the fees. I was the one who hooked you up with that man that married you, that today you are known as this wife. I was the one who helped you with the proposal. Today I'm not being mentioned. You may have to be a Mordecai at some point in your life. You may have to be Moses' mother who was mentioned right up until she did the Nile River thing, and that was it. Did you ever have the mention of Moses' mother anywhere else in the Bible after she dropped him by the Nile River? No. Is there anything wrong? There isn't anything wrong. But I want to trigger that person tonight to say, don't stop it. I want you to continue with what God has entrusted you with. Don't get to a point where you say, but everyone else who passes through my hands, you know how we get excited. In life, we get too excited. I call it being too excited when now you be like, everybody who passes through my hands, they become great and big, and now they've forgotten about me. Maybe that's what it was meant for. You don't have to worry about the fact that will they mention you after. Worry about, did I get the person where they're supposed to go? Because for the mother of Moses, had she not been stubborn and hid him, you would not have a redeemer, a rescuer, a man who went when God said it's time to make a move. So there needed to be a mother who says, I don't care if I'll be. In fact, that's another thing. When you don't know what you have in your hands, some people, they don't even know what you are today because they have you in their hands. Maybe that's why they handle you the way that they handle you, because they don't even know what you're about to become. The mother was just being a mother, but very persistent. When God was using her, she allowed to be used. If only she knew that she was caring, protecting, and hiding what an entire nation of Israel was waiting for. While you are saying, I don't want to do this thing anymore, I don't want to help them anymore, think about whom they are born to become. What will they do? You may become a person who then becomes one who stood for the nations, yet you did not stand with that nation, but you took care of one person. You having to help the person by the road. You giving a job to that father. You giving recognition to that person who is carrying a certain purpose, and you know that if I can open up a door and they get recognized, I know that the world will change. You just doing, and you just have to move just a little bit. God does not even require a lot from you. He does not even need you to perform a miracle. The miracle will be performed by the one that you are protecting. The mother did not need to perform any miracle. She needed to breastfeed the child. She needed to just keep him in the house. 3 months, God said, that's all I need from you, woman. Keep him in the house. The rest of the miracles are mine to perform. You just need to do what you do on your normally daily functioning. Be a mother. Carry this child, take care of him, pray for him, because that's what mothers do. Maybe the only thing you need to do, you just have to be a wife who wakes up in the midnight hour, early in the morning, like the 3 women, and you start praying and you just tell God about the greatness that you see in your husband. Yes, he may not be working today. Maybe he may be down and out today. Maybe he's not providing like the next husband that you have encountered somewhere in another family. But the only thing God is saying to you is saying, I just want you to be a wife. Maybe in you being a wife, this husband that you have then will get to his purpose. Because we unfortunately or fortunately, whichever way you want to say it, we find ourselves sometimes handling, greatest cargoes of God, but we don't know. Mordecai was one of those men, a man whom, when I say not with my generation and I use him, he was handling a precious cargo that at the time, probably when she was just a little girl and she was called beautiful, the other thing people were saying is that she does not have parents. People may have been attaching a whole lot of things into Esther's life, but the only thing Mordecai did was to be an uncle. And I know that Mordecai became an uncle when it gets to that point where he knew that now it's time to have the beautiful girls presented. He did not say, she's not my daughter, I will not put her forward. But he orchestrated the moment. And he said, I will make sure she ends up in that palace. And it happened. And that is why when I read in the book of Esther 4, verses 13 and 14, it says that Mordecai sent this reply to Esther. Don't think for a moment that because you are in a palace, you will escape when all the other Jews are killed. If you keep quiet at a time like this, and listen to this, if you keep quiet at a time like this, Esther was running scared. She was saying, I'm in the palace, I know, but there is still that issue of you cannot appear before a king. Who was pushing Esther? Who was reminding Esther that, Esther, I as your uncle, I know the potential that you have. It was him. And he says, if you keep quiet, and he makes it known to Esther that you need to understand that I'm not coming to you because I'm saying you are the only person created to do this. I'm saying for this generation, at this time, for such a time like this, you may have been born. Does that mean that help won't come from elsewhere? It will come when you refuse. But that's not the point. The point that I want to drive to you tonight is that I want you to get to a point where you understand that you may not get the shine that it will be given to what you birth, but nonetheless you birthed it. You took care of God's purpose. You made somebody recognize you. You became a Mordecai at the point where somebody was about to run off and say, it's not yet time. You became the mother of Jesus Christ who said, the wine is now over. The wine is now finished. They have no wine anymore. And Jesus Christ said, what is it our business? To you and I, we were invited here. Why are you getting involved in the pots of other people? And one day I said that the reason why she was bold enough to go to him, she knew whom she birthed in Jesus Christ. She remembered a moment where the angel said, you are carrying the Messiah, you are carrying Emmanuel, the God with us. So she was saying we cannot have God with us and wine runs out. Not with my generation, as for people who will understand that I may not be mentioned up until to the end of the letter, but in a part where I am mentioned, it is where I made the greatest impact. What am I saying to you tonight as I get to a close? I am saying, even when you know that you're not going to get the shine that you think you want, you may be used by God to carry the precious cargo. You may have to take care of God's people and you don't even know it. But one day when you look back and you say, God, is this what you wanted me to do? Some of us, we greet people and you speak to people not knowing, and in the middle of a conversation, they start speaking and you now hear God depositing in your spirit and you start ministering to them. And the only thing you needed to do was to say, good morning. And when you said good morning, you opened up a door for somebody to start speaking to you, and you spoke life to them. You changed it for them. You may have changed it for one person. I will tell you this boldly and confidently. When you change it for one person, you have changed it for an entire generation. Continue to hold on and know that you are called for this time. Keep pushing those around you and become a Mordecai of your time. Good night and be blessed. Amen.
You are watching True Way Television.